Hi, this is John Wren. This is the Startup Show. We're here each Friday morning at 10 a.m. Mountain Time for a half hour to help you get your next week started. This is a great place to go if you're not sure what you're going to do Monday morning. This afternoon at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, we'll be at the Capitol Hill Idea Cafe. It's at Panera Bread, 13th and Grant, just a block from the Capitol. And that's me live. We'll talk about startup there and share more startup experience. Now, I invite people to come here and be on the video roundtable and share a startup experience. It's hard for people to find things. There may have been people here and that they've given up and left. It's 8 minutes after 10. We get the show started late again because I could not find the link on Google+. Why that was so difficult, I have no idea. I always wonder if it's sabotage. Are they trying to hold us back? It's only paranoia if it's not true. But I'm glad to have finally found the right link to be here now. And this is recorded, so if you're not watching live, real time, then maybe you're watching the recording, and we'll try to give you the benefit of the information that you would have had if we'd started on time. If you would like to be on the Startup Show, being with us here on the video roundtable via your webcam, or if you'd like to be with us at the live Idea Cafe on Denver Capitol Hill, call me 303-861-1447. That's 303-861-1447. We'd like to have you share your startup experience with, we've all started something, started a career, started a new job, started a campaign or a project, or started a new business. And we love it when people come and they've taken a business from start to finish and share what they actually did to get it off the ground. We focus just on startup, 0 to the first sale if you're starting a new business, 0 to your first day on the job if you're starting a new career. But in startup, there are certain commonalities, and we have a 4-step business creativity model, IDEA, that we kind of hang the meeting around. And we need green light thinking. That's the part that we play here. And then red light thinking. And that's the part that professional advisors can serve. The murder boarding where you decide what you're actually going to do. And that can be very, very important, but it's overemphasized. And, if you're snuffing out every idea, maybe you're snuffing out good ideas too. So you might want to try to evaluate just a little bit differently next time. Now, I've been doing this for a long time here in Denver. We've held a startup workshop for over 20 years. It originally was to promote a TV show that I had on Channel 53, and we were on once a week. It was John Wren's TV Journal. Each week I'd have somebody on from the performing arts to talk about how they'd started their career. I'd been marketing director at the Denver Symphony, got to know a lot of people, and we had him on as guests, Henry Lowenstein. The list went on and on and on of people that came and talked about how they started and then the other guest was someone who had started a business. And we did that for 6 months. It became a radio show. It continued on. And the Idea Cafe Startup Workshop evolved out of a promotion idea of having the live guest on with us at some event, usually at the Coble Library, at Cornerstone Bookstore, places like that. You could come and see face-to-face who you'd seen on the air. And what I discovered is that there are 2 startup stories for most people. There is the public version, and in that, the entrepreneur tries to conform with the existing norms that you need to be a good manager, and they kind of see what they did in that light. And then when you get to the live event, For some reason, the sound has gone crazy. I think these Google Plus Live Hangouts get better and better, but it's not quite there yet, at least for me. I don't know. We may need to try one of the other services platforms. I've tried to stick with Google Plus, but now we're getting this delayed sound feedback that is extraordinarily distracting. And I don't know if it affects people watching. Now I'm So I may need to do this in bursts. We got a few minutes left. I'll put the recording of this up. I think it'd be good for people to see the disaster that this show has been. And hopefully we'll go on from here with maybe a different platform for these kinds of video conferences. Video has advanced so much on the internet that do not take advantage of it. This is a free service. I wanted to use something that would be available to everybody if you wanted to start your own show, but I'm about to give up and go to one of the paid services and get more help to put on a professional presentation. Yeah. So another round of silence there while we listened to what I had just said. I don't want to put this all on Google. That's for sure. It may be that I'm just not using it properly. So I'm going to work hard this week and try and improve my performance by next Friday. And, we're putting the word out about these. I was late starting. I think we've lost our audience today anyway. Some of you may see the recording of this. Very limited value, but we do see you face to face at Panera Bread, that 13th and Grant, 2:00. It's free and open to everybody. And now I'm back, and I don't know which tab it is. Here we are, I think. Yeah, here we are. Is this the show? I may be finding the reason. I've got too many tabs set. If you're still watching, I am amazed. I may get I just can't figure this out. Clearly, there are two screens open. I can't find both of them, and I really apologize. This is not good. I'm going to kill this screen, and I lost you all together. I was afraid of that. So, can you hear me? Now, this appears that I'm still on the air. Amazing. And I finally found the right screen. So we've got 8 minutes left on this live broadcast. Very sorry. And I may edit some of this out. I may not. I may just leave it on as is, as an object lesson to idiots like me that don't take enough care using powerful tools like this. And I need to spend the next solid week doing penance by preparing for next week. I am sorry. The execution is one thing. I think the strategy of doing this with Google Plus, a free service, it's a powerful tool that you can use for your own purposes, is a good idea. But the execution has not been so great today. And maybe I can, Google, if you Google whatever it is you want to know about Google Plus Hangouts, it comes right up. There are all kinds of little lessons to watch. Problem is it keeps changing, and dummies like me have a hard time keeping up. But I will do a better job for next time. Now, the reason we started doing these Idea Cafe startup workshops is that when originally it was just to promote this TV show, radio show I had nearly 20 years ago. It might be more than, actually it is, it's more than 20 years ago now. And what I started noticing is there are two startup stories. They'd come to the Idea Cafe on the air, we called it the John Wren's Journal, that's what we called it, but they would come and hear these startup stories on the air, then come and hear the people face to face say, now let me tell you what really happened. And I was talking about my ideas about startup that had been formed on my own experience, observing the experience of clients in the marketing company that I had. and especially watching my dad and his friends start businesses. And what I saw is that when you watched what was happening, businesses just did not start the way that I was taught that they should start. And a very memorable dream of mine is my dad and some of these friends of his that were in business sitting at the cement table in front of a Taco Bell restaurant, and I'm standing up reading to them out of one of my textbooks, and they are laughing hysterically because they know that's not the way business really works. And I think education is a powerful tool. It's a little bit like these Google Plus live hangouts. This is a powerful tool, but it has to be used correctly. And education can help people live a better life, or I think it's sort of like a virus that gets planted in your head and it can really cause big problems. And this myth about how businesses start, I think, is one of the viruses that needs to be removed. It's been planted in the colleges and universities by your tax dollars at work, the Small Business Administration, which was formed in 1953, Eisenhower administration. Eisenhower had the military background, and he sort of thought maybe businesses started like, military battles, and you had a battle plan. And in a way, he's right, and especially if we'd followed the military model a little more closely, because a command from the military is very short. It doesn't go on page. Now, they may have page after page after page eventually, but the order is take Hill 462 or whatever it is. And then the commanding officer works out the details. And that's kind of how businesses start. If we'd taken it that way, a good book, it's the military mindset, but it's also a useful business perspective, in my opinion, is the Marine Corps Book of Strategy. And that was published as a business book. Ed McMahon and a couple other Marines wrote the introduction. And as a business book back then, I think it was a very useful tool. Now, they keep revising it. I've got a copy of the revised edition. I haven't read it carefully yet, but if you can find a copy of that book from 20 or so years ago, the Marine Corps Book of Strategy, warfighting is what they called it when it came out as a commercial enterprise, warfighting. It talks about these things in a different way than it's gotten morphed into now in the business schools, at least the business schools I'm familiar with. Now, there may be exceptions to this. Babson College gets ranked #1 in entrepreneurship decade after decade, and I don't know how they do it. They must have some sort of, insight into how these things are judged, and they conform. But the president of Babson College wrote a book that is wonderful. It's called Just Start. It's how businesses actually get started, not with what I think they teach at Babson, which is like they teach at every school, how to do careful market research, formal market research, careful, formal strategic planning, thick, comprehensive documents. They have business plan competitions. And almost no business starts that way in this country. Now, they do in planned economies, China, Russia, the Soviet Union. Now, Russia may be a little different, but the Soviet Union, Cuba, I'm sure they start this way as you do this market research, careful planning, submit the document, get approval. Now, instead of approval, we go after venture capital. But very few businesses get their first customer with venture capital. And venture capitalists, for the most part, know this. They don't want somebody that's got an idea. They want someone that has customers. And, then they'll invest in it, and there's the possibility they're going to go public quickly and make extraordinary earnings. So venture capitalists play an important role in the process. Investment bankers do, the honest ones that aren't doing these toxic loan roll-ups, which people should be put in prison because of what they did in that financial meltdown. Well, anyway, your best retirement plan is to start a business of your own. I really believe that. And we'll be talking about it more this afternoon at Panera Bread, 13th and Grant. We'll be here next Friday morning at 10 o'clock, I hope, right on the dot, and it will have eliminated the technical problems. And until then, remember what Goethe said. You know, he said, begin it now. And the way Lynn Schlesinger, president of Babson at the time when he wrote the book, Just Start, Harvard Business Review Press, the way he said it, just start. And if you're finding that difficult, join us this afternoon, next Friday morning. This is the Startup Show. John Wren, if you've got questions, you want to be on the show, give me a call, 303-861-1447. That's 303-861-1447. We'd like to help you do more good work. Thanks for watching.